The clear bins on bagless vacuums have a maximum fill line which indicates when the bin should be emptied. If the bin isn't emptied, the vacuum can stop working, just as it would if the bags were never emptied on the old-fashioned bagged vacuums. Notice how the maximum fill line is below the mesh shroud. As air comes into the bin, it needs to exit through the shroud. As dirt enters the bin, it's forced to the outer wall and is pressed there due to centrifugal force, causing the spinning that you can see. This effectively makes the dirt particles heavier and prevents them from being able to get to the centre of the bin where the shroud is and the air escapes. But if the bin gets so full and dirt goes above the max fill line, the incoming air doesn't first fling dirt to the bin wall, and it can all just go straight through the shroud. So overfilling the bin stops the first stage cyclone from working. Earlier, poorer design shrouds also had large pores, making it more likely that dirt particles like sand and hair could get through. Better and more modern cleaners have shrouds with a fine mesh to prevent this. Nevertheless, shrouds do naturally accrete fine dust over time and can block up, and this can become a problem without basic care. Once air that's now free of larger particles goes through the shroud, it heads to any second stage smaller cyclones, which similarly replicate the centrifugal spinning effect in the main bin, but for smaller volumes of air at much higher spin speeds. This higher spin speed dramatically increases the centrifugal force, making even these small, lighter particles effectively much heavier, forcing them to the walls of the small cones. They're flung out of the bottom, and the cleaner return air comes up through the particle-free centre region and heads to the premotor filter. If the shroud becomes blocked, airflow through the smaller cyclones is reduced, preventing the air spinning fast enough to separate out the small particles, which can then get through and clog the filters. The instruction manuals of all bagless cleaners clearly state that the bin must be emptied before the max fill line is reached, and the shroud should be kept clean to avoid these problems. It's fairly simple maintenance, but neglect can prevent the technology from working as designed. As with any technology, it only works as intended if it's not neglected, treated with respect, and basic simple instructions are followed. There are lots of YouTube clips showing what happens to abuse bagless cleaners. They often show larger particles, such as hair on premotor filters, and lots of dust that's got through the cyclones, or even the cyclones becoming completely clogged up and packed with dirt. If you see this, it means simple user care hasn't happened, and the machine has been abused. So don't be fooled by suggestions that the technology doesn't work. It works fine, as long as there's no neglect, like with any technology really. So always empty the bin before the max fill line, and always ensure the shroud in the bin is kept clear. The best cleaners scrape the shroud automatically on emptying, but for cleaner designs which require the user to clean the shroud manually, this is best achieved by wiping with a dry dusting cloth over a sink. There's a link in the description showing how to easily empty a good quality bagless cleaner without any mess. Hopefully this video helped clear up some myths about bagless cleaners and help people realise the importance of just emptying the bin before it gets full. It only takes a second.